We on, right?
No more Thiago Motta for you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, by the way, I want to congratulate myself with you. Congratulations.
Congrats.
By the way, you don't have to take any more Prozac, you and Grella. Stop taking Prozac because you looked kind of depressed the last few weeks. And I want to see you guys smiling a little bit.
What, you kept saying that you kept using that joke, and then it backfired on you.
It didn't backfire.
mean,
We
it
deserve
kinda
to
did.
lose. No, that's
played
nothing to
bad.
do. No, we deserve to lose. We did deserve to lose. What more do you want me to tell you?
No, I'm just bringing it up.
Actually, let me bring it this way to you. When you guys lose, sometimes it's like built into the pie, into the cake. When AC Milan lose, it's a lot more trouble because the expectation that you have when you're wearing a shirt like that, the black and red, the history, and the fact that we're navigating in a little murky waters right now, the expectation for AC Milan are very high. So I think that this spanking that we got from Juventus, it's a wake-up call for us because on the market, it's either we do something very, very important. We don't need band-aids. We need real things, right, Mike?
Yeah.
What do we need?
I said medics.
Yeah. Okay. We need.
But usually in January, you don't get that.
Well, usually take it out because apparently we are signing Walker,
Yeah, Kyle Walker.
which is
I like the move.
yeah,
I think it's a smart move.
it's a very very smart
He's
defender.
He's a leader.
And with the hope that Conceicao and Joao Paulo, what are Joao, okay,
Who's Joao? Joao Felix.
Felix,
Joao
I say
Paulo.
Joao Felix. They gave me an Amaro. They got me drunk already. So with the expectation that Joao Felix and Conceicao, they have the same agent, I think I see a little light at the end of the tunnel that maybe this guy here might come over. Is he the solution for us? I'm not sure. Maybe on
think
a
so.
4-4-2, him and Morata can play together and have, I don't know, Leao on the left, and then you can have a Pulisic on the middle.
Think it's more than just that. I think what Conceicao said after the game, after the 2-0, was that Milan can't always rely on Leao and Theo, and that some of the other players in the team, the ones, not just the youngsters, even ones that have more experience, need to step up to the plate and need to stop hiding. Maybe he's talking about the midfield because I think you were totally outrun in the midfield. Fofana and Benacer were a disaster. They get dominated by Locatelli and Thuram. Mike, what did you think about the game? What did you make of that comment?
Man, Juve played good, but it's also Juve. Milan played not good also. But it did seem like it was going to that point where Milan had a little break where they started playing a certain part in the second half where it was like, oh, that's it. Juve are going to concede again. It's going to be 1-1. But just Milan weren't efficient at all. They didn't play well. I think Juventus controlled the game overall. And I think Conceicao hit reality of what the situation is. Yeah, you got a little boost of adrenaline. You play good once you get a new coach, right? That's normal. But then when everything levels out, the question is, the real work begins there. How can I really make this squad
When
into
the
the
dust
squad
settles.
I want to a Champions League team, you know? So that's what I think we're seeing with Milan right now.
And what is it that they're missing?
A few pieces. Leadership is definitely one. Their defense isn't great. Against Juve, they didn't play well in attack at all. They do have injuries, so we can't say a lot about that. But it's not just a single factor. I think it's multiple things. And it's only going to take time. It's a new coach.
I have seen one more thing that I think needs to be brought up to this one here.
What was it?
When AC Milan it's in the face of non-possession, they're not the player, the way they position themselves on the field, they're not where they're supposed to be. I see all the time the Juve's players on the wing having so much room to receive the ball quietly, just have a cup of coffee and then decide what to do. I mean, the non-possession is very important. When you have the ball, we do not want to just doing the tiki-taka, pass, because Conceicao has got a different idea. But when you are in face of non-possession, That is very important. You have to press a little harder, and when Juventus is attacking the ball, what they do, AC Milan, they condensate too much on the middle, and they leave Juventus wing just all the time open, but not by little, by a lot. I see it. I mean, if I can see it, everybody else can see it. Can that be that it could be one of the problem? Yes. And I think the way we defend the one-on-one, Tomori, to me, we can give it to Juventus. Even free. I don't
knew
want
you were
him.
going to say that.
Just take him.
That's not smart.
I mean, what do you mean
How
that's not
did
smart?
it work out with Kalulu? You gave Juventus Kalulu as the right back. You signed Emerson Royale, and now you're looking to sign Kyle Walker, and Emerson Royale might be going to Galatasaray.
Listen, Emerson Royale does not have the speed and the skills to be at the AC Milan.
Not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Same thing with Pavlovic. Pavlovic might be going to Fenerbahce.
Just
all the moves in the summer didn't make a lot of sense. I would not give away Tomori to Juventus if I was you.
Listen, Tomori has been messing around for the last year, not just the last few games. He's been messing around the last few years, a lot of mistakes. And to me, Gabbia, it's by far much better center than Tomori.
He's definitely the better. But you need two. You need two players.
I need two players.
I
will not give up on Pavlovic. For some reasons, the guy you need to work on a little bit, we just got him. I mean, I think this guy's something that you can work on.
Think so?
Because the size is there. It's angry for the game. The will is there.
Angry or hungry?
Hungry for the game. I want him to do well for AC Milan. I want to give him a little bit. I want to stretch his time. Okay, he hasn't been played by Fonseca. I wanted to see. No, Fonseca before. He didn't play much.
He played, though.
Not that much. But I want to see
mistakes.
Conceicao use him a little more. As soon as Conceicao came into AC Milan, he benched Gabbia. Gabbia is the best defender that we have, and he favored Tomori instead of Gabbia. I think that was a mistake. Okay? But anyway, enough of crying. We didn't have Pulisic. It's not an excuse, nevertheless. AC Milan had a few chances. Juventus had a good game. I mean,
Juventus played a really great game.
They played a good game. Fofana didn't have a very good game. Fofana normally plays much better.
He was awful.
And we lose the ball and we stop. We freeze. You have to just go after the people. And I think Tomori, to me, is very culpable. Very, very culpable. You just go next to the guy and you leave enough room for him, even to adjust the ball and taking the shot. It was following him for 25 yards. Just close in and just slide before even he gets into the box, if that's going to be the case,
Yeah, I thought Milan were really poor. I agree with a lot of what Conceicao said after the game in terms of they're needing to be leaders and you can't hide. And I think you're seeing that in the January Mercato. They're trying to move away from some players that have not shown it at Milan for quite some time, and that spirit and that attitude. And in a lot of the games, if you think about it, the first game against Juventus in the Supercoppa, Juventus played a better first half, and then they gave away the penalty kick and they gave away an own goal. So Milan got away with it a couple of times. They had to come back into the match once again. Second half, they never came out of the locker room. The second half was a disaster for me. The first half, they had a couple of opportunities. They weren't playing well.
The first half, we didn't play bad.
Yeah, but second half,
good either, right?
Second half reaction, you didn't get that same second half that you had gotten a couple times under Conceicao. For Juventus, though, finally a full 90-minute performance from start to finish where they dominated. They played well, and they saw out the match. So many times, Juventus, they play well, and then they don't go and see out the game and score the goals that they're supposed to score. So they score the 2 goals. And for me, it looked like a Juventus that had the attitude. You see the way that they're pressing Milan. That's how Juventus need to play every single game. Thiago Motta lined up his team. They were desperate for this win. Absolutely desperate.
Well, you didn't play Vlahovic. You didn't play Yildiz.
He came out in the second half.
And
he was injured.
The other guy that it was on you had Conceicao is still
out
injured
as well. Yeah.
So what does that tell you? It's
He's dealing with problems as well.
It's the attitude.
Yeah.
Many times you have the player. The players are there. For AC Milan has got the squad. It's the attitude. Then they do not understand that the expectation when you play for AC Milan is extremely high. You have San Siro. You go to the stadium. You have you have the entire world looking at you. We're watching from United States. There are people watching from the Saudis, from Japan, from Australia, from all over the world. The expectation is extremely high. You have to have people capable to maintain that intensity for 96 minutes every single game. You cannot let go for 1 minute, not even 30 seconds. So that's what I said. Sometimes somebody has to be able to just grow balls and put everybody into the middle and say, hey, this is what is expected from you. Do you think you can handle that? If you cannot handle, pack up and get out.
Maybe he needs another cigar.
Let's not go to cigars right now because there is a no smoking sign into the locker room of AC Milan.
Let's talk about Juventus. Let's talk about Juventus.
No, let me say one more thing.
What's your one more thing?
One more thing. We have Jerry Cardinale. He's American, right? And he's the Redbird. Is the owner of Redbird. It's one of the owner of Redbird. So, Jerry, I know that you follow us. You need to be the red and black bird. It's un uccello rosso nero.
What is going on?
I'm telling you. So what I'm saying to you is now is the time to spend the money. The only thing that I remember that you did spectacularly, it was bringing 2 Americans into the teams. We need you now to do more and do what AC Milan needs to go to the Champions League. Because we're going to do well with the team that we have. Now we need you to make the step, to just step up into the plate and just make those two or three changes into the team that is needed. Tomori, my advice, let him go. Give it to Juventus. Give it to them.
You love giving gifts, huh?
Yeah. Gift it to them.
They
not
give
even
gifts
get money.
to Juventus. They give players to Juventus.
Give it to them. Please.
Mike, what did you think about Juventus?
It was one game. I think the problem we're talking about Motta was figuring out the squad and him figuring out as a big-time coach now, coaching a big-time team like Juventus, that there's going to be a lot of growing pains, and I feel like that's what we've been seeing for the majority of the season, not the consistency. But, yeah, they played great this match against Milan. They really proving a lot of the haters wrong, saying that – I mean, we're joking about it, too, that he only ties matches and stuff like that. But I thought he played great overall. But it's only one game. We got to see how he does for the upcoming games. They got Champions League 2 game against Club Brugge. Other than a few other games. But
Napoli next week.
And now they have a tough schedule. So I want to base it on a few games in a row rather than just one. Because we've seen him streaky, but I want to see if he can do it consistently.
Especially in the smaller games. Because I feel like their attitude in the big games has been good. It's easy to motivate yourself when you're playing in the big matches, right? And it's harder in the smaller games, and there's more smaller teams than there are bigger teams. And I think he has to get that consistency. I feel like there's been such an overreaction when they've tied games, and then overaction when they win games. You have to find balance in both of them. And I think Juventus and Thiago Motta has been hurt with lack of mentality, big injuries as well to the squad, and a young team that hasn't reacted in the proper way. And I think the game against Milan was the reaction that they want. A couple of players that we have to shout out that I thought were fantastic. Weston McKennie, once again. McKennie is just incredible. I mean, the fact that he plays as a left back, he does everything. I saw a meme that said, you need help in goalkeeper? I'll be there. You need help in defense? I'm there. You need help in the midfield? I'm there. You need help in the attack? I'm there as well. And it's remarkable how many times he was pushed out of the club every single summer, yet he fought his way back in, and he's been the most consistent player for this Juventus side under Thiago Motta so far this season. So credit to him. I can't say it enough. I thought Locatelli was perfect. Wearing the captain's armband, his distribution, his hunger, his fight. That's a Locatelli we want to see every season. He's gotten better under Thiago Motta. Thuram in the midfield, the ball that he gives. Weah coming in off the bench as well. You could see that the speed in behind was going to hurt Milan. They were lacking it in the first half. I thought Yildiz didn't have a great game. Weah comes in, and he exploited that space that they needed. Even Nico Gonzalez, he's not a center forward, but his hold-up play helps the team more than Dusan Vlahovic does. Not to say that Vlahovic is going to get kicked out of the team or anything, but I think you have to look at the performance that he had in Bangula, playing in Serie C a couple months ago. At this point, put in a big performance. So finally, the right players stepping up for Juventus, and I think overall, 90 minutes, that's what we were waiting for, but they need to show this consistency going on. One player that I thought was poor, and we haven't been able to talk about this rumor, Cambiaso. Looked like his mind might have been elsewhere. There's rumors that He could go to Manchester City this January. Manchester City having a disastrous season under Pep Guardiola.
Not as you think. They're fourth place right now.
No, they're not. Manchester
What are you
City?
talking about?
I don't think they're fourth place.
They are.
Manchester City's having a disastrous year this year. Pep Guardiola's never gone through anything like this. Now, they picked it up in the last couple of games, but it hasn't been good enough. And you see what they're doing in the market. They're buying so many players. They got Marmouche, 80 million.
Fifth place.
Fifth place.
But that's horrible for Man
That's a
City.
disaster for
Hey,
them.
the season is not even. We are just at the middle.
But so far, they're having a disaster of a season. Pep Guardiola's picking his face out. Did
You see what
the
we say?
scratches that
You
he
know
has?
why you're talking like that? Because the expectation, like on AC Milan, is extremely high. That's why you're calling a disaster. A fifth, standing right now for Manchester City. Just give Guardiola another 3 or 4 games. You're going to see it. They're going to be second or third.
But my point was not that they're going to go on and have a bad season. My point is, up until this point, Pep Guardiola has never struggled more than he has right now. And they're looking to make moves, and that's evident in the January transfer market. They're spending so much money. And they're looking at Cambiaso from Juventus. To sell a big player like this in January is something Juventus really have to evaluate. The reports say Juventus wouldn't sell right now unless they get an offer of like 75, 80 million. They're saying Man City's offer is going to be around 60, 65.
I think it's not worth it.
Would you sell Cambiaso to Manchester City in January?
For 65? Oh, my God. I'll sell him for 50.
Put a bow on him, right?
Yeah. 50 is the valuation for me.
No, but you have to think
Juventus selling, yes or not.
In January to sell an important player, your only natural fullback in the team, considering the injuries.
Listen, you guys, if you get Tomori, it might make a lot more sense.
It's a different position.
Doesn't matter.
Of course it does.
You can play with a 3 defense.
He doesn't play like that.
Well,
Mike.
I don't know. I will sell him.
That's a lot
50
of
million, 60 million. I will definitely sell him.
Cambiaso's a good player.
Good.
But 60 million is...
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot
We're
of
talking
money.
over 60 million.
Yeah, at least 60 million. Someone like Cambiaso. I like Cambiaso. I think he's good, but for something like that, but it might disable Juve though for the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying. So where do you have to get to a number where it doesn't hurt Juventus this season? For me, I would make Manchester City pay a big premium on this, because you also have to think, if Juventus want to replace him, who are you going to go out and get? Anyone that they want to go get. If they want to get Dorgo from Lecce, Lecce's going to raise the price as well, because they're going to say, oh, you're in a tough situation. So while I agree with you that I don't think Cambiaso's worth that money, I think Juventus are really risking their season for a player that plays in Thiago Motta's system for Cambiaso. And that's not to say that Manchester City's not getting a fine player. He fits Guardiola's system. He could play right back, right wing back, left wing back, center midfield. He's very versatile. Defensively, he has his inefficiencies. I think he needs to improve there. But I think for Juve, you're really risking your season, even if you do get a big number.
I mean, if you pick up a quick replacement, someone that plays maybe a mid-table in Serie A or something, that they can scout out quick, that you can pick up for a few million, and maybe not as good as Cambiaso, but enough to carry out with the season, because that's a lot, especially 60 million plus. It's hard to say no.
Marco, for a 60 million, you can find a defender.
We're talking about over 60
Pretty much
million.
over 60, that it can be versatile, just as good as Cambiaso, or actually even better.
But you're going to have to pay a premium. Again, if you sell, let's just run with numbers. You have to buy 40 million for Dorgu from Lecce, right? If that's ideal replacement. Now you're there's only 20 million difference between Dorgu and Cambiaso. I don't know. Does that really make sense?
See, this is all a fictitious way of thinking about soccer, because we're thinking about, the value of one player, comparing to another player. If I sell you this, I can get this for this, and I can get this much money on my pocket. It's not a question. The question is the opportunity for Manchester City to come and knock at your door has come, and they're offering you a lot of money. That is the time. If Cambiaso production goes starting to decline toward to the end of the season, because you just said it, he didn't play well at all against AC Milan, then what do? You think that Manchester City is going to offer you the same amount of money? They're going to say, this is half of the money. I said, you want it? Take it. Otherwise, keep it.
I'm just saying it's a big risk. I do think that's overvalued for him, but you do have to up your price in January. It's kind of like what Marotta was saying with Fratesi. You're not going to sell to a direct competitor in January and then have to find a replacement somewhere else. It just doesn't make sense to sell in that way. And it doesn't seem like the player is desperate to leave. I don't think that would be the case. So we got to see. We'll see what happens with that.
Did AC Milan needed to sell Tonali? No, we needed Tonali. Tonali was one of our best midfielders.
That was a lot of money.
One of the best midfielders of Europe. But how can you say no to 80 million?
That's a perfect example.
How can you say no to 80 million?
But you didn't replace him properly.
That's
the problem. You need to look at who you're going to replace. If you could get 2-3 players that are really good fits,
we got
and you identify them,
Reinder was a good replacement.
For me, he was different than Tonali.
I
Tonali
know.
brings that fight, that dog in the midfield that I still feel like you lack.
Yes, but Reinder to me, it's a great. It's not really a replacement. It's a great addition to the team that we spend some of
He's
the
better
money.
He's better going forward, but I
Yes.
still think
He's
you're
more
lacking
box to
somebody.
box.
Ever since Kessie left and then Tonali left, do you really have somebody in the midfield?
We need another
that
midfielder to sub right now. I think
breaks
Benacer
up
is
play.
not 100%. He's never been a 100% since he came back from injury.
No.
I'm not sure. I mean, I like the guy. He's got his heart on the right place.
He's
but
not the same. He's not the same
but
player.
I don't
Or he needs
see.
time.
He has lost that step that
he definitely
he
has.
had.
Definitely.
So I don't want to be a party pooper or somebody that's going to just advocate for Benacer to be traded. But I think we need to look for another midfielder. That's what we need. Another box-to-box on regista difensivo, we call it. Somebody that alla Pirlo is going to take the team. I mean the ball from the defensive line and starting to distribute it, and then leave Reinders on the
Like
top.
a Ricci.
That's right.
Like
I
a
like
Ricci.
that.
We interrupt this podcast because we have a message from our sponsor. Who is that sponsor, Antonio?
Mike.
It is Italian Football TV
Oh.
because we have some new products. It's not just the fabulous jackets that we have, which there's very few left. The jerseys officially
Sold out, guys. No
Nothing
more
left. Never going to be back again. We're working on something special really soon. But the hats that we're wearing are now in stock. We got three different colors. Even though Antonio only sees 2 different colors, they are different. We got black, we got navy, we got blue.
Yeah.
They all look fresh, and they're available on ItalianFootballTV.com.
They're good looking too, guys. Listen, look at the
You
front.
say I'm good looking?
No, the hats, not
The
you.
hats.
The
Okay,
hats are
okay,
good
sorry.
looking.
They
Misheard.
make people
They
that
got-
wear good looking.
Right.
Also.
They
How
got
come
the-
it didn't work on?
They got the 4 stars on the top of
gotta wear
the
two.
Scudetto, and then they have a C right here on the right hand side. Can you see the
Other
C?
side, yeah, that side.
On the side, you see the C?
It says
Okay.
Azzurri on the other side.
Okay, so guys,
They're groovy.
don't make me beg you because I don't like to beg anybody. But you'll make a big mistake.
You beg your wife to come to the studio all the time.
I don't
Yes, you
beg
do.
anybody.
Yes, you do. Please, honey, I really
No.
want to watch the game. I got media to do.
Buy the hat, okay?
Back
All
to the podcast, guys.
Let's talk about the other game. That was amazing. I think this is one of the best Saturdays I've ever seen, or a match day in Serie A between the 2 games between Juventus and Milan and Atalanta Napoli, just in terms of the spectacle, the intensity. All teams, sometimes in Italy, we got to say the truth, in these big games, doesn't always live up. There's calculations. There's, all right, we're going to play for a tie. I felt like all 4 of these teams really brought it. Milan less so in the second half, but for the most part, they all came and gave us a big show. Atalanta-Napoli was incredible. I mean, the fact that it went 1-0 to Atalanta, then Napoli came back, then it went 2-2, and then in the end, Napoli found a way to win 3-2. Let's focus on the Atalanta first, and then we'll take it back to Napoli because I think that conversation will be longer. I think with this game, Atalanta is not considered in the Scudetto for me. Yes, you could say 3 points don't make that much of a difference. And if they came back, would I be the most surprised? I would be surprised. I think that after you lose this game to Napoli in this manner, I'm putting you on a different pedestal, and I'm putting Inter and Napoli as the challengers for Scudetto. Of course, give them their credit. They're an amazing side, but I just don't see it. Maybe I'm being harsh for one game. You guys tell me if I'm wrong.
A month ago or something. I feel like I was the only one that said Atalanta is gonna hit, or doesn't have enough to hit to win the Scudetto. And I thought they would go a little bit further than this. I feel like they hit the roadblock a little bit earlier than expected, but I don't know what it is with them though. They had a bad start of the season. Then they started doing incredible, and now they're hitting some games where they're not playing like themselves. So I was surprised that Napoli came back. I'm not gonna lie, but Atalanta showed a lot of fight. But there's that little factor that changes a Scudetto winning team and not a Scudetto winning team.
They're not scoring goals
And-
as freely as before. 4 goals in the last 5 games, 0 wins in those 5 matches. Yes, they had some injuries they were dealing with Retegi, but he came back and scored in back-to-back matches.
Everyone has injuries though, but
Even and especially defensively, that's what I feel like. That's what we kept harping on. They have Kolasinac that gets suspended in this game, Kosunu as well injured, and you look at some of the mistakes that they make. They also looked a little bit tired. I feel like Ederson, who usually has 3 lungs, the guy never stops. For me, they
didn't look
tired.
good. It didn't look, I was telling the producer the other day, Ederson, it's like he's not part of this team. I haven't seen him involved in any crucial defensive production or even offensive production, because this guy is all over the places. I said to myself, I said, what the hell is going on with this guy here? Then, I have a little question for Gasperini. You know how much I like him, but I do not understand. You have people like Brescianini, and then you just bring him in. Brescianini, it's a starter anywhere else. Brescianini is a spectacular
Come on,
player.
Samardzic needed to start.
Samardzic too. Samardzic too.
How are you going to play them both?
You can do it. But the Catalara didn't start. So you can just find a space for both of them. You're telling me that both of those guys, they cannot play together? But they're not going to step over each other.
I didn't think that was the problem.
That wasn't the problem.
I thought Lookman, when he touches the ball, he could change a game.
Yeah.
Retegi scored a goal. They both their forwards scored a goal. I think Samardzic in the last couple games was growing like crazy. So I can't really fault him for doing that. I know he got criticized for the substitutions. For me, it was just missing that little bit of craftiness, being smart, being a little bit naive as well in moments. And also, to give them credit, I think Napoli were just a better team and more well-prepared and had that hunger. Towards the end of the game, Napoli looked more fresh than Atalanta. And sometimes it is the fine details. It's not that Atalanta put in a terrible performance, but it's those fine details that end up hurting you. But do you guys agree that with this game, for me, Atalanta's not in the same category as Inter or Napoli for the Scudetto race?
No.
I thought before this game they were.
You disagree?
I disagree.
So where are you ranking them? You think Inter's going to win the league?
No.
Who do you think is going to win the league?
It could be, I wanted...
Don't say Milan.
No.
If you say Milan, I'm walking out.
Say Milan.
Mr. Producer, what do you think? Listen.
Who do you think is going to win the league? If you gave a power ranking.
It could be Napoli or Atalanta.
Atalanta?
Napoli or Atalanta.
Not Inter?
Not Inter.
Yeah. Inter probably second or third. I'm not sure. They don't have it. They don't have, listen to me. Atalanta, they, like Mike said, they're going through a bad stretch. And a bad stretch, the game that they lost against Napoli, they didn't play bad. They just, Napoli had the 3 or 4 chances, and they put it in. They were concrete, and they were able to use whatever they had and to score. Atalanta played much better on the first half, and they attacked even the second half. What do you think that Gasperini made at the subs? He brought the Catelare, he brought all of those people in because he wanted to win the game. When they were 2-2, Gasperini was pushing to just win the game. They got punished by that stupid cross that Anguissa made it, and then Lukaku happened to be on the right place at the right time. Boom, the ball goes in. And even the goal the goal that, what's his name, the English guy scored. McTominay.
Scottish.
Yeah, the Scottish guy. That was a lucky goal. The guy comes. Let me tell you something. The guy did not pass the ball to McTominay. The guy, he was down over there.
Matter?
He just threw the ball in the middle. He find this guy here coming from the back and the one that scored. It was not meant. It was not something. I'm seeing him. Boom! I'm putting the ball over there. He just boom. Let me throw the ball in. He got lucky.
It comes down to fine details. That's why I want to say, not to have an overreaction, because I think some people threw Atalanta under the bus a little bit. I think that Napoli were just better in the game. They were more well prepared. And Atalanta, it's a fine margins. There is a counter to this and say, even with Atalanta's bad form, they only lost that one game. And even against Udinese, for example, where they were dominated by Udinese, they found a way to not lose. So you could find positives in that. But I still think they're missing that little bit between Napoli and Inter at the top of the table. If we switch the focus to Napoli, which I think this is one of the games where Napoli were better. It's not that just Atalanta lost the game. They were just so clever. And the fact that they lost the first leg 3-0 at home with, you know who's in that lineup when they lost 3-0? Kvara was in that lineup, their most attacking player, and Buongiorno, their best defender. So Conte learned from that game. He prepared for this perfectly without their 2 most important players that we know Kvara's not going to be there for the rest of the season. But with Juan Jesus in the back, and credit to him, he's playing great. But the fact that Napoli also showed character, because sometimes Napoli, when they score the first goal, they're a different team. When they have to come back into games, we haven't always seen it, and that's been one of the criticism is scoring goals. They can rely on their great defense because they do have an amazing defense. They showed me so much. For me, there was a feeling around this team. There was an energy and an attitude that they're all bought into this. Even with Kvara gone, there's a chip on their shoulder. And you could hear from the celebrations afterwards where Raspadori saying in the background, send this video to Kvara. So they've got this push about them where everything seems to be falling in place for them to push for the Scudetto. Doesn't mean that they're going to do it. No, they're still far away. They're 16 points more than where they were at this point last season, which I think is a testament to what Conte has done with this team. But I just have to say, when it was 2-2, I absolutely knew that they were going to find a way to win the game.
Napoli?
Yes.
I thought it was the opposite.
I was sure.
No.
And for me,
I
that's
felt
the feeling,
Atalanta could have won the game.
That's a feeling. If you've watched every Napoli
Atalanta.
game, which I haven't missed one Napoli game so far this season, you just see these little moments in every game that make you believe. And that's Antonio Conte.
The thing with Conte is his teams are hard to beat. They're very stubborn, they're very rigid, they're very physical, they're very annoying. So if you have your chances and you don't score them, Napoli's going to get those chances and they're going to score them because that's the kind of, they're clinical. That's how they are at the end of the day. And Conte's shown that throughout his career. That's how he raises his players to make sure that's how they play. They fight for one another. And at the end of the day, Kvaratskhelia didn't have an incredible season off to PSG. Lukaku's not really having an incredible season. And they're still managed to be on top of the Serie A table without an incredible individual performances. So, and it's January now. So I think what he's doing now is really amazing. But it's not too much of a surprise because we've seen Conte go to so many teams and just do the same exact thing. And I think Napoli are just now where it's the European games are starting again.
Yes.
Now this is where Napoli, I'm going to see how much they can excel from the other teams that are in the Champions League, like Atalanta, Inter, whatever.
Exactly.
So
I think
it's going to be interesting.
for me, Mike hit the nail on the head there. I'm not surprised at all by what Conte's done, but for me, they're even ahead of the process. They're ahead. I thought the gap would start to widen now when we're talking about the European games going to the next level. And I just really hope that they reinforce in January. That's my one little asterisk on this thing. I don't think you could go an entire season with the players at their disposal. You've gone away with it with Buongiorno, who's been injured for some time. You need to sign a center back. Period. You need to sign a replacement for Kvara. And I know Conte says we don't want to just sign somebody to sign somebody.
How much did he exactly get from Kvara? 65, 75,
Northwards
85?
of 70, 75 million.
70, 75. That's
So,
a lot of money.
in January, too.
The big talk is that he wants Garnacho from Manchester United, whether he gets it, whether he doesn't. For me, they have to sign one more player because you're thin in that role. That does not mean that Neres and Politano are not good enough to play on this Napoli side. But when you want to push for Scudetto against the likes of Inter and Atalanta, you need more quality. You need somebody that could provide you a spark in the games where things don't go well. So that's my one little thing.
According to you, they're pretty stacked up on from midfield to the forward line. To say they need just one additional defender.
Yeah, well, a defender and a winger.
And a winger.
And a winger.
I think they're 2 players away from winning a Scudetto.
A winger to do what? To replace Kvara? But I have Neres.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
To sub out.
If Neres goes down injured or Politano goes down and injured, I'm terrified.
Even with this, I feel like Conte could just grind his way like by a half a point, last minute winner. But it's always good to get some reinforcements if you're fighting for the Scudetto, which they are.
And don't get me
shouldn't-
wrong, I
shouldn't
would
they
love
see-
Napoli to win. I would love Napoli to win.
That's not what I heard. I heard you were going for Atalanta in this
No,
game.
either Napoli or
Mr.
Atalanta.
Producer was saying you were not happy when Napoli won the game. You act like a Napoli fan
You
now.
believe everything that he says?
I believe him more than I believe you.
Oh God. Anyway, I would be happy for either Napoli or Atalanta to win. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Conte. This is really. This is known for a
that's
long
why
time.
I forgot. That's why you don't.
That's nothing to do with not wanting Napoli to win. Napoli is still the team from the south. I have a lot of friends from Napoli. We got Ludo. We got We got Rosario. We got everybody. I love Napoli, but I just don't like Conte. It's just something that
He's from Puglia.
I don't.
I love him. I love him. I absolutely love him. And I love seeing him celebrate and getting the crowd going, because for me, what it says when he's going for the 3-2, because he could have been happy with the 2-2. A 2-2 away in Bergamo is not a bad result at all. But the fact that he had this feeling of, let's push. Let's not just defend it all. Let's push. Let's find different solutions. To me, tells me that Conte believes. And when Conte believes, that's scary for the rest of the Serie A. And again, it's not in the big matchups, in my opinion. It's going to be in the smaller matchups where they can go on and win the Scudetto. With that being said, they have a massive match against Juventus. And this was the first of the tough schedule. Atalanta was probably the most difficult of that matches against Juventus, Roma, etc. Let's see what happens against Juventus.
When is that, Saturday?
I don't remember which date it is.
Are you going to write in your calendar right now, buddy?
See if they're Saturday.
Mr. Producer, what is that, Saturday or
Mind
Sunday?
checking? Thank you. Anguissa as well, living his best life. 4 goals, 3 assists. Most goals he's ever had in a Big 5 league, and he's been phenomenal as well as McTominay. So I don't think you could take away from the quality within the squad. I know I've pointed out some of the deficiencies, but as an 11, they really make up for maybe not having, world superstar. We've talked about Bastoni, Barella, Lookman, Retegui. Rightfully so. Those guys are phenomenal players. But as a squad, Napoli is strong. And that's what goes on and makes you achieve great things. So I'm happy for them. Let's transition to another big storyline. Roma, under Ranieri, getting results. We know they get the 3-1. Dovbyk has been really good. He's finally getting involved. Dybala seems like he's put off all of these negative rumors that were around him. There was rumors that he could have left in January. Ranieri steered the ship. No surprise to all of us here. We all wanted Ranieri. We all disagreed with people who said that Ranieri was not going to fix Roma. I don't think it took a genius to realize that he's going to be more straightforward. The big talking point is who is going to be the coach of Roma next year. And the reports today, there's reports in Spain saying that Ancelotti is going to be leaving Real Madrid. I've been saying I think Xabi Alonso is going to be the replacement there. And more reports saying that they are trying to contact Carlo Ancelotti to be the man at Roma and bring him back.
They don't have the money to pay Ancelotti. They don't. Saturday, they don't have the money. Ancelotti is not going to go to a team that it needs to be
He went to
rebuilt.
Everton. He went to Napoli. Why can't Roma? Why can't he go to Roma?
You don't
for
go
the love.
You don't go from a 6-bedroom into a 1-bedroom and try to bring all your belongings
I want the Roma
and
fans to
stack them all up over there.
Hold on. Everything's a downgrade from Real Madrid. What team is
But
an
that's what
upgrade?
I'm saying to you.
No. But
Roma
when he-
is way down on a downgrade.
But he loves
I understand
Roma.
you go from Real Madrid to AC Milan or
I love
Juventus.
Roma.
At the end
Or,
of the day, I don't think Ancelotti would be good.
He's not going.
He doesn't fit Roma. He's not the kind of
Why not?
manager that
I
would
don't think
fit
so.
Roma.
Why not?
no.
Because I feel like Ancelotti's a player manager rather than someone that I think Roma needs someone that they could build. They need a young coach that has ideas that wants to transform someone like a
who?
Motta, like a Dionisi, like a De Zerbi, someone like that.
Or you can't take Dionisio over Ancelotti.
Ancelotti is established already. He's not going to change the way he thinks. He's stubborn in that area, and I don't think he'll fit the kind of football.
The rumor is he might go. Mike, excuse me. The rumor he might go to Brazil before he actually starting to change his mind and coming to coach Roma. Listen, as much as I would love to see Ancelotti coming back to Italy and coach, I don't think Roma is a fitting for him.
I could see it. I see it.
I don't think though. Like Mourinho, like with Mourinho, I think Mourinho would fit better at Roma than Ancelotti did, and at the end of the day,
look what they did,
Mourinho
yeah.
wasn't respected.
But it wasn't for me. It wasn't Mourinho's fault. It wasn't for me. Roma as a club was not making smart decisions from the top, and it feels like they're starting to get their shit together.
The Friedkins?
No, not the. Well, ownership, yes, is always ownership, but who they put in charge of the sporting project? They get all these, Ghisolfi from France. I mean, what are you doing? Get Serie A experience. Get guys that know how to build a team who've done it before. They're gonna get Antonello from Inter, who's the CEO of Inter. Smart move. The rumor is Sartori, they're going to try to get him out of his contract at Bologna, who hasn't renewed yet. Again, smart. That's a smart decision. Now you're getting guys who have just built up teams who could build up with smart decisions, not always going for home run signings like Renato Sanchez and paying big salaries to big players, but build a squad. And for me, if you have the opportunity to get Carlo Ancelotti and then you surround him around a good director and a good sporting project, I love
I
that
think
for
that's
Roma.
just a marketing move again.
Yeah, it's good.
Instead of going for a big name, I think you should get someone with fresh idea. Ancelotti's a legend. Don't get me, one of the best ever in history. But I just don't think he will fit Roma to the best of their abilities.
Well, Ancelotti is someone that wants to take a team that is already established, that is at least 3/4 right there. But if Ancelotti comes in,
They're built. Roma are building.
Right,
He's
Roma,
not that kind of coach.
Roma is a team that needs to be rebuilt
from
the bottom
Yeah.
up.
I agree with you. I understand exactly where you're going, and I agree. But Carlo Ancelotti is an exception for me.
That's just a name, though.
For me, no, but
I
it's
feel
everything
like,
about what
I
he
feel
brings.
like it's those
It's
teams
a
that
big
get like
name,
a
Mike.
40-year-old player just because he has a
but
big name.
it's the
don't
players
know.
that he also attracts to the club. It's the understanding of Roma. It's he's gonna make some of the players understand, kind of like what Ranieri's doing right now. Ranieri's not the best tactician in the world, and Ancelotti, sometimes his tactics are overlooked. You know, he's found different solutions in different places. So I say, if you get him, you take him.
Take
If there's a
Allegri.
chance,
Allegri is more
might go
of
to
a
Saudi.
doable stuff.
Yeah, like
he's got a big set.
Allegri to me
he's
would
not
be
gonna
more of
go.
a
Come
doable
on,
thing.
Allegri over Ancelotti.
No, for Roma, I don't think they can afford Ancelotti.
How
Ancelotti
is
is too much of a
Allegri
big
builder,
name.
but Ancelotti isn't?
Because Allegri does not have a project that is not really been
He's not
sought
gonna go
by
there, so it
by a
doesn't
lot of
matter.
big teams right now. Allegri is a better fit for Roma now because Ancelotti expectations are
They're both
extremely
old.
high.
They're too old. They
Listen,
need
Mike,
a new coach.
when you're hiring Ancelotti said, hey, I'm coming over here because I wanted to win. And I wanted to win it now. I'm not waiting 3 years project or 4 year project or 2 year project like with Sarri and everybody else. Ancelotti is the coach that if you hire him, you have to just put him on the position to win right there. And
That's
Ancelotti is not going to
happen.
wait
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
Ancelotti doesn't wait around.
All right.
What
We'll
do you do
s-
at
we'll s-
Napoli? How did it end?
We'll see. We'll see
It
what
was
happens.
bitter.
We'll see. But again, if I'm Roma, and you have a chance to take Ancelotti, I take Carlo Ancelotti.
That would be a mistake, I think. All these big names are not.
Who will make the
as good
phone
as they
calls?
seem.
Who's going to make the phone call to bring Ancelotti to Roma?
Freakins.
Freakins. And you
They
think
did-
that
they did to
Ancelotti?
Mourinho.
Yeah, you think that Ancelotti is going to listen to the Freakins?
Of course. Oh, no. Sorry. Ranieri's going to make the
Oh,
call.
Ranieri's gonna make
He's
the
going to be a
call.
director, and he's going to make the
He's
call.
gonna see
for
a ring
Ancelotti.
and
That's like Mike when he has to answer Antonio's phone call.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, right. Oh, Mike picks up all the time. You are one. Let's not go to phone calls, please. Okay, Mike. What happened the last time that I called you?
probably charging.
Yeah, you were charging.
I thought
right?
you said he
Okay.
always answers you.
Yeah. Okay. Sometime.
Speaking of which, you think your phone just went off. What other big topics have we had?
Well, Fiorentina is back on. I can't believe it. I mean, me and Enrico, we were just saying, "Oh my God, look at that Fiorentina!" And all of a sudden, Torino, 10 people, 10 on 11, they went up tying the
1-1.
game.
Crazy.
I mean, hey, come on,
Joey
man.
Palladino, do you
Get
hear
it
the
together.
pressure? The pressure that he's under. Florence is such an interesting place because there's really high expectations and huge demands from the newspapers, from the fans, and I feel like their highs are also too high and their lows are too low. Kind of again another similar example where when they were doing amazing and they were breaking the records and they had like 9 or 10 wins in a row,
Yes.
whatever it was, then they talk about the Champions League and can we push first with that? You got to keep your feet on the ground and realize, yes, we're doing great, but it's probably going to go downwards if you look at the rest of the squad and you're going to balance out. Fiorentina's pretty much where they should be right now. So you can't want to sack Palladino and talk
No.
about all these. That's what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
but Marco, what do
that
you
he
want
lost
from
the locker
Palladino?
room.
What do you want from Palladino?
I agree.
This guy here made up. You know, you're a defender. Why the hell are you doing things like that? Come on, man.
Sack the
Yeah, but
coach.
that's not the coach.
I agree.
That's not the coach. I mean, all of a sudden, that's what happened with the Fonseca too. If the people that don't do their job we're talking about basics. We're not talking about inventing a new scheme. The guy, you're not supposed to get beat on your own box over there.
Camuzzo's
And,
pass to Adli.
what?
The Camuzzo pass to Adli.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
absolutely.
about. That situation where Torino ended up scoring the goal.
that's wrong. That's wrong.
For me, Palladino is not the guy to question. He's not. Ever since the Bove situation
Right.
where he lost Bove, who's an important player in their midfield, he gave him a little bit of balance that they needed. We've talked about their defense at length. We've talked about so many different aspects. And they got Moiskin that's scoring. So you got a goal scorer. You have that. That's one of the hardest things to find in football is a number 9 who could consistently put the ball into the back of the net. Goodmanson's a player who still hasn't completely clicked, but there's still a lot of upside with this squad. And again, you're pretty much where you should be right now. You can't overreact to the recent performances that you've had.
with this team here with Milenkovic, that now is playing, I don't know, EPL or whatever.
Nottingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it will be probably not perfect. That will have probably another 6 to 7 points.
Ranieri's not good enough in the back.
Ranieri is a
They
disaster.
look like clowns running. into each
Yeah,
other.
Ranieri
Nice.
is not a defender.
Nice. I
Just,
agree.
it's just as good as Emerson Royale or whatever.
What a high standard, huh?
Well, what other big top? Was there any other big topics?
Lazio.
Lautaro tied with
Inter.
Icardi
Yeah.
with the most amount of goals for a foreign player. So second all time. So incredible. One more goal, he beats Icardi.
And what about Theo Hernandez? Theo Hernandez recently just he went over the Maldini's record for most score
From a defender.
From a defender. And
We shouldn't even mention that.
I know, but hey, listen.
But hold on, let's talk about Inter and Lautaro
Inter.
first.
Let's go talk about Inter. I know your
Mike
favorite.
teed it up for Inter.
He's a closet fan. Mike is an Inter closet supporter.
But Inter just another team. I think first half it was no goals, right? And then the second half, you're like, I'm sure Conte was watching at the end of the seat for the second half. What's gonna go on and hope that they'll slip up. But Inter, man, they got the best team in the season, best team in Serie A for a reason. They're just, if someone doesn't score, someone else is gonna score, and you're gonna hope for a slip up. And I'm sure Conte is gonna be hoping for a little fatigue for these midweek games for Champions League, then back in Serie A. But I think Inter's still the team to be, and Napoli just like staying level with them till the end of the season.
Lautaro, Thuram both scoring again in the same match. Lautaro growing game after game. He's getting the goals back. He was always within a match, but he wasn't getting the goals. My one question is when I watch this game, Esposito wasn't able to start. Daversa says he had a little problem. Esposito has 7 goals because he scored against them, and he's on loan from Inter. They have a 5 million option to buy. My question is, Inter
Inter or
Empoli have the option. My question is, Inter don't have a guy that scores off the bench. Correa and Taremi, they just don't. They can offer you other things, but they don't score goals. Why not just put Esposito in that team? Why not have him be a rotational striker?
Don't give them suggestion. They don't need your suggestion.
No, but I'm serious.
We need
so
them
many
to lose.
strikers.
I don't know.
You're gonna have a total 5 strikers.
No. Instead of Correa, for example.
So you're gonna terminate his contract in January, and then.
No,
take
but Mike,
him.
they try to ship him out, Correa, but nobody wants him, and I think he wants to stay. Right?
I'm just surprised. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overly excited about Esposito having a record-breaking season for himself. But when I look at him and I look at him scoring goals on Empoli, I say to myself, why don't Inter just have him within their squad to be a guy off the bench that could hopefully get you goals? Because especially with Inter, the way that they create, he should be in a position to succeed.
You say, given the fact that they are in multiple competition, they play the Champions, they play the Coppa Italia, they play everywhere.
But it'd be better him developing where he's at now. Inter, he might get cold because he's gonna be not gonna be a starter.
I would say that probably is probably Esposito not pushing for the trade because
so?
over there he's got a better role and he gets to play.
Yeah, and he's a
if he goes
starter.
into Inter, he's going to wind up sitting on the bench and he's going to be used. He's going to wind up doing the same thing that Frattesi is doing right now, just sitting over there trying to be a good boy. And then once
And
you open your
scrap for
mouth,
minutes.
right? Then once you open your mouth, you are in the bad in a bad relationship with the rest of the management, I mean, including the Occhio di Lince over there, Marotta. God forbid you say something wrong, then that guy forget it. Right or wrong, Mike, your friend?
You have a point. It's difficult to play, and if you're not gonna get considerable amount of minutes, he's doing well there. Why would he want to go too?
Over there is enough First Amendment rights over there. If you say something that is not really aligned with what the top gun over there wants to hear, major problem.
A knife or
Major
an eye.
problems. Yeah, you guys are bad.
I bet.
You two are bad.
Mike, are we that bad?
I didn't
You two
defend him.
together. Oh my God.
And speaking of his
little devils.
his brother Anto, do you know he has a brother?
Of course I know. My wife's last name is Esposito too.
That's a very
believe it
common
or
last
not.
name.
But
Interesting.
I know he has a brother.
His
too.
brother plays
100%
in-
from Napoli.
Yeah.
His brother plays in Spezia, and he's capocannoniere right now in Serie B. So they have something in the Esposito
That's right.
blood that
It's
they know how to
DNA
score.
It's the DNA. It's
The
the DNA. Yeah, that's
Like
right.
Bombers.
That's right.
Dele Alli is going to Como, free agent, 28 years
Oh, my
old.
God, I
he
like
was
that.
training with the squad from December 26th. Fabregas didn't want him necessarily. He said, I want to see how he's able to perform. Now he's brought into the squad. He's a player that it's kind of crazy that he's only 28 years old. It feels like he's been around forever. Obviously did amazing at Tottenham, and then he had a lot of personal problems. And wasn't able to continue on the path that he was. Certainly has talent. I guess it'll just be a matter of if he can find that consistency. But Como is doing great. I mean, they win again today 4-1. They got some really interesting talents. Their signings are all performing really well. And I think this is another case of in the beginning of the season when Fabregas was under a lot of pressure, and I remember listening to his press conferences where the media was criticizing him, the team was always playing well. If you watch the games, they were playing well. They would get caught out for silly moments, silly mistakes. Sometimes they would lack in managing a match where they play 60 really good minutes, and in the last 30 or 20 minutes, they would fall apart because other teams had more quality and had more legs. But they were always doing the right things, and I'm happy that he's finally starting to get the results. So I trust in Fabregas. I think he's a very capable manager. If he wants Dele Alli, I'm happy that he got it.
I think Fabregas is somebody that is flying under the radar. He's an extremely well manager. He's an incredible manager, this guy here. I saw the Como playing AC Milan. AC Milan was in trouble. We were in trouble. Even when we went down 1-0, we went up we had 2 chances and we were able to capitalize. And Hernandez is one of those dirty balls that is skinned with the foot, and all of a sudden the ball
Como
he finds the back of it. Oh, many times.
Como had so many chances.
So what I'm saying is, I think Fabregas has got skills.
He's got it.
He's got it.
Can Como? We obviously know that. Can Como become the next Atalanta?
Yes. Not next year. Maybe give it 2 more years.
We know that they have huge owners that are worth $50 billion, some of the richest owners in football. So it would be different than Atalanta, who under Percassi, he had to do it. He had to manage it slowly. But when I say can they become the next Atalanta, I mean, can they follow that path of getting into Europe and being this next team that develops talent, plays really exciting football, and can become a destination? Obviously, we see with all the celebrities that love to go to the games. I don't really care about that part, but I care about the part that they want to be the place for youngsters to blossom and to play good football.
Listen, a lot of people that are invested into this project, not only celebrity, geographically, Como, it's in one of the best spots of Italy. So anybody.
Thierry Henry is an investor.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that the fact that you put Fabregas on the center of the project over there, Fabregas has played in some of the best team in the world. He has played Man U, has played Chelsea, Barca. The only team that hasn't played was Juventus and AC Milan or Inter. Other than that, he played just about all the biggest team. So what I can say is, this guy, you had a good point. You had a good point about saying Fabregas, Como becoming the next Atalanta. I will say to you that in the beginning of the season, so who's going to be relegated? Como is here to stay, and he's here to stay for a long time.
I didn't think Como was going to be relegated.
So if I didn't say that you did, but we were questioning ourselves. I said, who's going to be probably the next one to go down to the second division? And we were talking about at some point. I'm not sure if it was you or Peter. It was either Como, Lecce, and a couple other teams. But Como is here to stay. I don't see Como going down. Actually, Como can challenge for more of the upper
Conference League?
No, maybe
upper bottom half. Is that what you're going for?
Yes,
so
like the 10th to 13th spot.
That's right.
I could see that as well.
That's right.
And listen, I always say when you get to Serie A, the most important goal in your first year is to just try to stay up without suffering as much as possible, and then you could slowly build. Como's also a team that they didn't even expect that they would be in Serie A this quickly. They thought their project was going to take more time, and it kind of surprised them. We know Serie B is a tricky league where they have this playoff system. First place obviously goes, but then second to eighth plays in a playoff, and we don't often see the big upsets, but Como was one of the teams that made the upsets. So, and I love it. I'm all in on the story. I'm all in because they're playing good football and they're attracting good talents. And for me, that's at the base. They're not just coming here to hold on and grasp for dear life. No, they got ideas. They got a clear system. They have a clear project, and I agree with you. For me, Cesc Fabregas is a very good coach. Despite the inconsistencies in his results, the team they're slowly going like this. Always, game by game.
Guys, this Dele Alli, is going to do well.
You feel differently?
No, I think I agree with you guys. Fabregas was kind of, what do you call it? Kind of a question mark because, no experience. So just like, what's going to happen? Is he going to do decent or is he going to plummet? So it was more about figuring out his kind of playing style and what he does. Because you hear coach all the time, I'm going to play the best football, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this. Pirlo's one example that said that he didn't back up a lot of his stuff. But Fabregas, for the most part, he keeps a lot of stuff to himself. And he shows a lot of good ideas, a lot of fresh ideas, plays a lot of youth. They play good football. They don't play. It's pretty good to watch, and they don't lay down for anyone. Even against the bigger teams, they're not scared. And I feel like Fabregas puts a lot of mentality because he was just a player. So I think that a lot comes from him, and they all trust each other. And I want them to do well because it's, first of all, it's a new team. It's a great destination, and I think there's a good amount of buzz around in there. So I'm happy to see the rest of the season.
Humble is a word I would use to describe Cesc Fabregas. Humble in that he backs everything up with his actions, and humble in the way that he went about his coaching career. Because there are a lot of former players, and you mentioned he played at the top teams. Manchester United wasn't one of them, but he played at the top teams, and usually they want a way to just start at the top, but he started at the bottom. And I remember listening to him inside the locker room when they got promoted to Serie A. And he's like, guys, this is not something that we're going to celebrate. This is the beginning. We need to go to Serie A to compete. He's not there to just take part. He's got a really big goal in his mind, and humble would be that word. I think that he works extremely hard. He's obsessive. He says Antonio Conte, when he coached him at Chelsea, was one of his examples of why he wanted to become a coach. And I'm all in on the story. And I'm glad that we finally found something to agree upon. And I hope they go on and become the next Atalanta.
And let me just say one more thing about this.
One more thing.
The expectation of Como is not to win anything in terms of trophy, Coppa Italia, or Campionato, or anything per se. But the fact that they're flying under the radar and they have a great quote-unquote coach that we just discover all of a sudden, I think they're going to do well. And I'm telling you, the style of play is excellent. I saw the way they were moving the ball with AC Milan, rarely passing the ball back. They were always moving forward. AC Milan struggled. They were with their tongues out trying to mitigate the offensive proveness of this team. So Cutrone is one of my favorite players. So Strefezza, oh my God, they have a lot of quality.
Absolutely,
the quality is over there. You just get 2-3 additional players in this team.
On the bench too.
Ooh, Belotti. Well, Belotti. Let's not exaggerate.
Belotti might need to be left behind. I think he's gonna
spend 100 million on that guy.
We were
Almost.
about.
Yeah,
I think Como is going in this direction, and Belotti is
I
gonna
think
be.
Belotti is gonna be sent fishing on the lake over there in terms,
He's gonna be with the Roosters.
Right. All right.
Anyway,
the
guys.
Gallo, right?
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.